Critical hit Punch All Nazis takes place in the early days of World War II and combines high adventure with cosmic horror. All dates, locations, and historical events are thrown out the window in order to create a fun story, so don't put too much thought into historical inaccuracies. All accents are done poorly, but with love, and no disrespect is intended. Last time
on Critical Hit.
Please pay attention to what they are saying. And one of the children's like, yeah, fire talk, yeah.
Quick, grab the red orb.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Try and take advantage of the egg.
An alarm goes off. Big steel gates slam down.
We've got an early day because we want to get on those guard rotations. So,
yep.
We'll turn in early.
The morning arrives in Venice, and you can wake up to the sounds of people puttering their boats about. You can hear street people on the street doing street people things. That could be delivering papers or selling street goods. People wandering around, shops opening up. It's a new day in Venice. You are all in your hotel rooms. And this room, remember, is a 2-room suite. It's a 2 rooms, 2 bedrooms, but with an adjoining common area.
Okay. We'll get ready. I guess what we're going to do is we're going to try and park Doc and
Blisco
outside of the museum.
Okay. Anywhere in particular?
I think there's a cafe that is where you can see the museum from there.
Yeah, you can at least see part of it.
Well, part of it. Yeah, we'll just figure out what the best place is to sit them at. If they have their mask on, they shouldn't be
too conspicuous.
Well, they wouldn't necessarily know that it was the same 2 guys that put their hands on the orb yesterday. Right. And then I'll go in with Valentino and see if we can see any ghosts.
So you make your way through the city of Venice. You can find a boat and make it over to the island of Murano. The island of Murano is buzzing with activity very early in the morning. I mean, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, and already the festival goers are out. There are booths that are open. People are having a good time. People are handing out handbills. People are, selling newspapers. Shops are open. There is a general feeling of festivities in the air as people enjoy the great Glass Festival, the 112th Glass Festival of Murano.
Oh boy!
All right, we'll make our way to the cafe that has a view of the museum.
Sure. So again, the museum, if you look at the floor plan that you're seeing in front of you, imagine a giant rectangular area in front and back, kind of a big lawn area. And that is where all the carnival activities in the front are happening. So you've got the Ferris wheels, the merry-go-rounds, little rides for the kids, food stands, selling stands, all of that stuff. The back half, the back side is not as big as the front, but that is where it's kind of roped off and kind of closed off because they are carefully setting up fireworks and planning their fireworks display for the next week on December 15th. Aligning that kind of front lawn, there are trees on either side, and then there's a small street, and then on each side of that, and then you have shops and cafes and those kinds of things that are there that you can see or sit or visit or do whatever you like. It is a living, breathing city, after all.
So the best vantage point
depends on. So let me ask you this: where are you trying to look, and what are you trying to see?
General conceit was to just get guard rotations to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere where we can see guard postings. If there's
is there like an a
staff entrance? Yeah,
maybe.
It looks like people just go in and out of the front or the back doors.
Okay. But we can see like the guard people, the guys who tried to bust us. They had a uniform on and they were ready to like smack us. So we need to watch for those guys. Are they looking like, if it just kind of at thing, does it seem like they're just coming in the main entrance?
Yeah.
Okay. So we should try and position ourselves to where we can kind of get a look at who's coming in and out the main entrance and see if we can just watch those guys.
And I mean, there's also the back entrance as well. So they could come in or out of either entrance.
Crap cakes. Well, that requires 2 people. Wait, we've got 2 people.
I know, right?
Right? Okay. I'm slightly taller, so I'll handle the back.
Is there more town on the other side of the...
Oh, yeah. Once you hit the end of the backyard, again, more trees around that area, and then another street, a cross street, or kind of a windy street, and then windy houses following the windy street. And there's a windy little man and a windy little horse.
All right.
Yeah.
Would there?
But no more festival though.
Oh no! The festival spills throughout the area, but there's so shop owners will have their shops open to sell goods and promote goods, and people are wandering up and down the streets. Many of them in costumes, some of them in their business clothes. Throughout the area, you can definitely see people from all over. You can see people that would be dressed in what you might consider a traditional Greek garb, although those people are few and far between. And when they do show up, people are giving them strange looks and sometimes shouting at them. You will notice that there are some people that are dressed in what you might consider an American style. There's a man walking around with his wife, and he's dressed like a cowboy. He's kind of heavy set. You can hear him. I cannot believe all of this glass that's in this place. I should certainly like to add more of this to my collection. And the wife is following along. She's like, yes, dear. Oh, this is such a wonderful. I'm so glad you are able to bring us to Murano, to this fantastic festival. And behind them are 2 or 3 assistants, and they are dressed in like chauffeurs type attendant clothing, and they are laden down with boxes and boxes of things that this man has purchased. You can see some people that are wearing very, very sharp suits that are, wandering up and down these streets and through the area. Some of them look like they are on their way to business meetings. You see people that are dressed in, like a daily work garb, because even though the city is having a festival, there are still people that need to make the glass and make the food and make the donuts. So there's all of those kinds of things that are going on. But yeah, there's a general kind of feeling of good spirits.
You guys are one of you is gonna be in the front and one of you is gonna be in the back.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like the plan.
So
Doc, where are you going to plant yourself?
So you said that there are places in the back where it would not seem untoward for someone to be just kind of hanging out and enjoying a morning, maybe with a nice cappuccino or something. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you wanted to find a cafe, if there was a cafe along the street in the back, you could certainly do that.
Okay. I think that may be the way to go. So I definitely want to look for something where, you can just sit there and you can be like, ciao. I'm not going to try and look Italian necessarily, or trying to look, but I'm also...
Oh, no, people instantly know that you are not Italian.
It's the hat.
Yes, that's what it is. It is the hat.
I'm wearing a mask.
Yes. What is your mask again?
Jeez, I'm not even sure I remember now.
Oh, man. You mean you have to spend monies to buy a new mask? What does your new mask look like?
My new mask? Oh, it's going to be the most amazing. It's going to be the Capitano, which is what I think my first mask was, but the guys from the hotel definitely know it. So it's that Commedia dell'arte mask where I'm like the Huff and Puff guy. Who's the former, what do you call it? The guy who beats up on the Harlequin. I always think of him as Jonas Grumby, the skipper.
Punch or Judy?
So you have like the top. It's like the top half of the face with a big nose and bushy eyebrows, and it probably has some sort of like almost but not quite hat with some feathers and some braiding in it to make me look sort of officious, maybe fakey officious. So that's definitely what it is. Il Capitano.
So you find there is definitely a morning cafe where they're serving pastries and coffee and whatever throughout the morning. And so you can sit out there on the street if you want. They have little tables and chairs.
Mm-hmm. I will do that. I will find a nice place. Maybe get myself, some sort of croissant, or what's the Italian version of a croissant?
Italian breakfast roll.
There you go.
It has many layers. It is buttery. It's got a flaky crust.
Kind of like a baklava. I mean, I don't know what a baklava is.
Yeah, it's more like a lasagna. Yes,
a lasagna.
Yeah, a bread lasagna and lasagna. And a coffee.
Man, I'm glad I ate recently.
All right, so the waiter comes out and sets it down and gives you your stuff and kind of looks at you and kind of just shakes his head and walks back into the store, into the restaurant cafe.
Why is he shaking his head? Why is he got to be mean?
Maybe he's having a bad day.
Well, and presumably you ordered it in like so foreign or Italian, and
yeah,
it's hard to understand.
Yep, he's probably agitated that he has to deal that he's been having to deal with tourists at the Glass Festival for the last 22 years of his life, and he's
22?
probably a little fed up with tourists this time each year.
I've been doing this for years, and I'm just out here trying to be a fascist, okay?
Yeah.
And yet all these foreigners keep showing up.
Yep.
This is a mighty specific backstory. I'm just like...
You asked why he was grumpy.
Is it that specific in fascist Italy?
I mean, it could be.
And we also, we do have that point where Doc may be a little on edge because of the, how do I put it gently, overt racism and bastardry that we have encountered since we've been in this nice little town.
Sure.
So,
did you expect fascists to welcome you with open arms and say, welcome, welcome?
I didn't expect
the leopards to eat in my face.
I didn't expect a kind of Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
As someone who has experienced racism, even if you expect it, it still sucks when you get it.
Yeah,
that's very true. Very true.
There's a newspaper there on the table.
Ooh, can I read it?
I don't know. Do you know Italian?
I know the roots of Romantic languages to where I might be able to fake it out.
So which language would that be?
Let's say Greek.
That's not
actually. I speak relatively decent Latin. I'm sure I could probably figure something out.
Yeah. So there's a section in the paper that, as you are looking through, it's talking about how there's a quote from Mussolini in the newspaper that is essentially, Greece was once part of this mighty empire, and so it should come back and be part of Italy once again, and we will do everything in our power to make sure that Greece is part of us again. And the longer that they resist, the more problems they're going to have. That's what you can read. It's
fascist jerks. They're jerks and they're fascisting. I try to keep a completely neutral face while reading this horrifying.
Oh, you're wearing a mask.
Jingoistic nonsense. Oh, that's true. So I just try to keep a neutral lower half of my face. Okay. Yes. Then I'm going to try and do the crossword puzzle.
Yeah, just like in college, Matthew, you just write whatever you want in the boxes and say, I'm done.
You know what?
Am I wrong?
I am not. That's a perfectly legitimate way to do the crossword. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Why don't you roll me an observation plus insight, please, D2?
I can do that.
I don't suppose we have any momentum.
You do. You have 4. I'm allowing it to come over from the previous session.
Okay. Oh, boy.
That's nice, yes.
Well, if it's difficulty 2, Matthew, you might want to spend a momentum for another die.
Okay. Yes, please. I shall spend a momentum for a third die. I have
2 successes.
2 successes.
Yeah, so the museum is already open by the time that you made your way to the cafe and ordered the cafe, and you spent all this time reading the newspaper and eating your Italian crusty lasagna or pastry lasagna, sorry. And it is many, 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 many hours before you see any new guards going into the building.
Okay.
You look at your watch.
Like 10 or many?
Yeah, no, it's not like 10 hours. It's probably it's a lunchtime break. So you have been sitting there for 4 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and the cafe owner is getting more and more agitated at you.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting more and more agitated because you keep drinking espresso, which is bad for you. And so you notice that there's one guard rotation where 2 guards at the back go in at around 12 o'clock, and they're chatty, and one of them's got his little lunch pail with them, and they're chatting with one another. As you can kind of see, they're very far away. It's not like you can see them close up.
Right.
They're very far away, but you can see 2 people enter the back around noon. Okay. And then about 15 minutes later, you see 2 other guys walking out, and one of them goes, if we're looking at this map and we're just saying the top is north, one of them goes east and one of them goes west, and they wave goodbye to one another, and they head off. And you can see in that back area that there are several old men who are sitting up like these stakes and these pieces of thin wood in between the stakes, kind of creating troughs. And they're pointing and they're looking and they're sometimes arguing over these 4 hours about, how these little frames of boxes should be set up.
Well, at the point where it's been 4 hours and I feel like I've gotten a little bit of useful information, I'm going to wish the cafe owner molto grazie, buongiorno Giovanni, and leave him about a 200% tip, because why not? And then I'm going to head off into a direction that does not look in any way scary or spy-like.
I mean, what is that?
That's a good question. I mean, what do spies do? They spy. So I'm just going to sort of wander off looking at the sunset, or, being completely inconspicuous.
Skip through a flower garden.
So where are you going? Tell me where you're going.
The guy who wandered off towards the east, I'm not going to track him in an obvious way, but I'm going to see if maybe I have to just kind of, do from a block or two, and see if I can get away with, wandering back towards our headquarters without getting into.
Well, your headquarters are on a totally different island.
Hotel. Oh,
well, on a different island, but
wherever we're operating from.
You are currently on the island of Murano. Venice is the opposite direction of where you're at. So if you're heading east,
the 4 of us clearly would.
If you're heading east northeast, Venice would be southwest. Yeah.
Game Master.
Yes.
I have a proposal.
Okay.
Since we have already spent 4 hours with Doc, should we maybe dial it back to see what, for example,
right
what
after
has been doing?
Right after he rolls a stealth plus coordination.
Fair enough.
No, stealth plus agility D2.
3 successes. I thought for a moment it was 4.
Nope.
Dang
Your
it.
arrow is the wrong way.
Again with this
you
nonsense.
got a success and a complication, I believe, assuming it's meet or beat.
1 success and 1 complication.
I hate everything. Okay.
So, you attempt to follow this guard for whatever reason, and it's very apparent after about 2 or 3 blocks that he is heading into a residential area, and he's waving to his neighbors and saying a good morning, and he's finally gets to his home, and his little son comes running out of the house and gives him a big hug. Papa, I am so happy you're home. And they go inside and close the door.
There you go.
Unfortunately, you are in a residential neighborhood dressed as you are, and people really are staring at you. So people know that you've been following this guy. Let's rewind to 8 a.m. and check in with Blisco. Blisco, what are you doing?
Well, I've been put on the front entrance, right?
Yeah.
Presumably there's a cafe or something that I can...
There's a whole festival laid out in front of you.
Yeah, I'll sit down to have breakfast at a cafe while being able to view the doors for a little while, have whatever they have as like a special for the day. Try something new. As the day rolls, just kind of change through different places in front of the museum. Never.
So you're not gonna stay in one place the entire time. That's probably a good idea.
I'm gonna not get into the server's way.
Yeah, I mean, you can also wander around the grounds of the festival and still keep an eye on the entrance.
Yeah, basically, as long as I'm not just sitting staring at the entrance.
Oh, sure.
I feel like it's so. There's a whole festival going on. I'm just
I mean, there's a ring toss guy that's like, you look like you can throw the rings just right, and there's another person that says, "Come here and pop this balloon." And there's a person that says, "Get the ball in the hoop and win yourself a prize."
Yeah, basically, I will do anything I can do as long as I am able to see the front entrance the entire time.
Kind of walk down the middle of the midway, and you're doing that, and people are trying to sell you things and buy things. Do you take part in any of the activities?
Yeah. As long as like I'll peruse whatever stuff I can buy, as long as I can just be looking in the direction of the museum the entire time.
Yeah.
If there's some glass trinket or other that I may eventually give to my mother if I'm able to be forgiven eventually for running away from home to join the military.
Man, if one of these Italian mothers heard you say that to the booth guy, she'd have pinched your cheek so hard and smack your face and say, "You're such a good boy." Very good. It cost you 20 monies.
Okay.
It is expensive.
Yeah, she deserves it.
Yeah, you love your mother. What else? What else do you do?
Maybe try one of the games. Like,
what's your favorite game at the carnival?
We'll go with the ring toss.
Okay, let's do an agility plus athletics check. D2.
Agility plus athletics?
Oh. Yep.
Haha!
Oh, 2 successes. Very good. 1 and a 19. Very good, Rob. Yeah, you win the ring toss. Surprisingly, this is probably at that same carnival where you met the magician guy. You probably learned some of the other tricks of the carny folk, and you know that the ring is a little bit smaller than the pegs that you're trying to get it on. But they told you that if you go to the one that's in the farthest back corner, that is the one that is the only one that'll allow you to win. So in case a cop ever shows up, they can say, "Oh no, this isn't a rigged game," and they can always toss it onto that back corner. You know that. And so you were able to do that, and you were able to win a little stuffed Italian sausage that's dressed in some Italian clothing. He's got the little hat that the gondolier guys wear when they steer the boats around the canals.
Yeah.
And that is your cheap prize that you win at the ring toss. Very good, Rob. But one of the things that you do notice is around 11:45 or so, you notice that there are 2 guards walking into the building. And about 10 or 15 minutes later, you see one guard walk out.
Which way does he go?
He kind of looks at all of the people that are milling around in the front lawn area, and he's looking around, and he spies a pretty woman, and he has a big smile on his face, and he walks down to go and follow her around.
Okay. One guard chained around lunchtime. I'm going to take a quick trek around back to reconvene with Doc.
Okay, so you make your way around to the back of the museum, and it's roped off. You can see some old men who are out there, and they are setting up stakes in the ground, and then they're taking those stakes and they're attaching these long sticks to kind of form a rough box. And then these old men kind of start to argue with one another as they kind of figure out what's the best angle that this box should be in. But observation and insight, please, D2.
Is a 50-50.
0 successes. You see no Doc.
He must have seen something and went to follow it. All right, I head back to the front and kind of resume my meandering and whatnot until end of day, or until I assume we had just assumed a rendezvous time with the others.
let's rewind to the apartment to your hotel room in Venice earlier that day. Did you guys agree on a rendezvous time or a place?
It would have probably been pretty late. So maybe we'll just meet up at the cafe in front of the museum at, I don't know, when is the festival
Sundown.
usually over?
Oh yeah, the festival winds down about 8:00.
Okay, so we'll meet there at like 7.
Okay.
And, leave a little, just be like, okay, if you're the first person there at 7 and nobody else is there, just stick around for a bit because who knows what all we're going to end up having to do.
All right, let's fast forward a little bit of time to 8 a.m. and the museum is open and there are patrons going in and out. Some of them are wearing masks. A lot of them are not going in and out of the museum as we join Dutch and Valentino.
Let's try and wait for a time when the Great Hall doesn't have, or the Grand Display Gallery, doesn't have a ton of people in it. Like it doesn't have to be empty, but just not the maximum occupancy.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that, because the festival you're kind of right in the middle of the festival at this point, the museum has constantly got a good flow of traffic through it. There are times where there may be like 4 or 5 or 6 people in there, but for the most part, there's always some people in there. In fact, when you guys walk in to the Grand Display Gallery shortly after 8 a.m., once again, you were just amazed and blown away by all of the glass that is on display. There's large pieces, there's small pieces, there's this beautiful swan piece where the glass has been stretched up and created this beautiful glass neck it is sitting there, and it's just a phenomenal piece. There is a blown glass bear that is sitting there as well. It's really a kind of a large piece. I would say it's maybe like 2 or 3 feet tall. It's really impressive. It's not as impressive as the swan with its graceful neck. There are some really intricate, or I should say there is a really intricate ballerina there as well that is on display. And of course, all of this glass just lights up and glows because there's a huge glass dome 2 stories above you in this Grand Display Gallery that just lets in all of this light. And, as you stand there, you can see that the light is moving. Even if you're standing there for like 10 or 15 minutes, you notice that the light is moving through this Grand Display Gallery because the sun is shifting and moving, and the light comes in through this glass dome and just illuminates every single corner of the Grand Display Gallery. And there are all sorts of people that come in and out as you're standing around or browsing. I don't know what you guys are doing. But there is a guy that looks like he's from Texas. He's got a big cowboy hat on. He's a little heavy set, and he's got a wife and like 2 attendants behind him. He's like, my goodness, this sure is some pretty pieces of glass. Yes, sirree. Where's the gift shop, son? I need to go buy me some of this stuff. They're shuffling around in there. You see 2 men dressed in dark suits that are standing kind of in the northeast corner of the Grand Display Gallery. They're kind of looking at pieces. They're kind of, talking with one another. They're looking at people as they come in. Dutch and Valentino, if you would you roll me a observation plus insight, D2?
All right.
Actually, D1. We'll do a D1 on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 successes for Brian.
2 successes.
Okay. And 1 success for Carlos. So I'll add 1 momentum back onto this. So as
possibly more if instincts or sight would be applicable.
Instincts would be, yes.
All right. 3 successes then?
All right. So what are you doing in the Grand Display Gallery during this time? Are you just like standing around staring at people, or what are you doing?
So probably what we would do is go around it, right? There's multiple entrances to it, right?
Yeah, there's 4 entrances, northeast, southwest.
Right. So if we came in, and probably the first entrance we would run into would be the east entrance.
Right.
Peek in there. If it's super full, keep looking around until we get to the north entrance. If it's a little bit lighter, then we would like go in and start looking around, and that's when we would try to
as you wander around the gallery, the museum, you wander north through the Great Hall into the back gallery where there were all of the chandeliers and other display pieces that were there, especially the section on color. And as you come in through the north gallery, you both smell this like rotten egg kind of smell, something that you would associate with sulfur. And then coming in from the east entrance, you see the German woman and 6 students, 3 boys, 3 girls, following behind in 2 rows, boys on one side, girls on the other, as they follow her, the German teacher lady, into the grand display gallery. As they are again looking around at all of the pieces, the German woman is like, as you can see, the art here is of very high quality, and you should take note that the only way for our country to really show its superiority is to be able to achieve greater glass blowing status than these Italians. And the little children are like, yeah, Frei Freitag, yeah. And the 2 men in black suits kind of, they pay a little bit more attention to the Germans as they come into the room. It appears like they can also smell, this sulfur smell. One of them kind of, does a backhand tap on his friend on his chest and kind of points at Frau Freitag as she enters the grand display gallery, and everyone is kind of spread out, looking around at everything. You guys, could you please roll me another observation and insight? This time D2.
I'm just going to let it ride with my normal 2 dice.
Okay. One success from Brian.
Start it.
Okay.
I'll take a momentum.
All right.
For one success.
Oh.
Okay.
Between the 2 of us, we have.
Yeah. It just appears that everybody, including Frau Freitag, are just very interested in every aspect of all the glass pieces that are on display. One of them points to the swan sculpture and moves to the girl that he is with and taps her on the shoulder and points at the swan and whispers something in her ear. And they both kind of nod and continue to look at all the pieces around them.
Okay. Well,
about one other thing that I will give you here is about every 10 to 15 minutes, a guard will enter through the north, walk the perimeter of the grand display gallery, and then exit back out of the north entrance.
Okay.
And about 5 minutes after that guard exits the downstairs, another guard you can see enters and walks around the perimeter of the kind of viewing gallery upstairs.
The introduction of 7 Germans makes it pretty crowded, so I think we'll try
This is
to
a pretty big, I mean, this is still a fairly big room. The grand display gallery is probably, 60 feet across, 60 by 60?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big room. Maybe I'm thinking more it should be maybe 100 by 100, but it's a large space.
As Doc pointed out last time, we are, or rather, it is suspicious for there to be this German person who happens to have the name of a day of the week. So I would say let's wait and see if they leave before we produce any sort of ancient relics of our own.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
Should we maybe just casually mosey our way out of here and loop back around later?
Yeah, I mean, this place has like benches and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, there are definitely benches in the grand display area. Probably there's 2 benches, 2 or 3 benches, again, depending on the size. Let's say 3 benches on each side in between some of the display shelves for people to sit and look at the glass, especially as the light continues to shine through the big glass dome above. It's really amazing that when you move from a warmer morning light to a more bluish afternoon light, that a lot of the colors of the glass that are on display and the way that the glass refracts and creates, rainbows on the walls really changes a lot throughout that morning that you're here.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there are definitely some people that will take advantage of the seat and just sit there and contemplate what all this grand art is around them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll grab a seat. And Dutch will pull out like a pad and a pen and write some stuff down, just kind of looking around.
Okay, at one point, a guard enters through the north and he walks around and he sees you doing something in your sketchbook and he pauses for a moment to see what you're writing in this notebook.
Yeah, it's a poem in French.
He kind of stares at you for a moment and then smiles and then continues to walk his little patrol and then out the north entrance. Free Talk and her children.
And her brood.
Yes. At one point, right after the main floor guard leaves, all 7 of them circle the central pillar in the middle of the room where there is this great glass orb. I think I've said it's probably about the size of a volleyball, something like that, is on display. And this orb is unlike anything that, I mean, you guys have already seen it, but it still amazes you every time that you have walked into the room that the red streaks that flow through this glass are as intricate as they are as mesmerizing as they are. You know, the glass kind of flows, or these red ribbons that flow through this glass orb kind of come in one way and then they'll branch off into smaller and smaller pieces before they trails before they join back up to another little branches from another ribbon of red that is flowing through the glass, and then kind of reverse trees itself back into a main ribbon, and that'll split off again into something else. And there's a lot of that going on in this piece. It's got so much depth. Some of those red ribbons are closer to the surface. A lot of them are further down into the glass orb. It really is amazing. And the other thing that is amazing is the fact that this is a very, very old piece of glass, and that red color has retained itself through all of these centuries. At least that's what you, again, hear when the tour guide comes in twice during your sitting period. There's 2 different tour groups that come in.
Okay. So when you say they circle it, you mean they walk around it, or they form a circle around it? No, they form a
circle around it.
Oof.
And they are looking at it from all angles. Occasionally, you will see Frau Freitag look at one of the children. She doesn't say anything, but the girl will look back at her and kind of nod her head, and Frau Freitag will nod her head back, and then she'll look at another child, and they just kind of do this very silent exchange between them as they're nodding back and forth. At one point, the guard in the upper top is walking through, and he kind of pauses and he looks down at this weird arrangement of people, but it is the Glass Festival, and he's seen a lot. And he'll pause for a moment and look. Notice that it doesn't look like anybody's going to reach out and touch it or try to knock the display over. And so he continues about his business. After about 15 minutes, Freitag says, "It is the time to eat. Let us go." And they line up behind her, and in 2 rows, boys on one side, girls on the other. They march out, or I shouldn't say they march. They walk out the east entrance into the Great Hall, and you do not see them anymore. And that odd sulfur smell that you were smelling within the last 30 minutes seems to have gone away now.
Definitely suspicious.
Yeah, definitely. Shall we go check it out ourselves?
Yeah.
All right. I walk up near the orb, and
it's amazing.
I'd probably take a good while just kind of looking at it, tilting my head back and forth, seeing how the light plays through it.
It's really cool because of the size of this orb. If you focus your attention on the red ribbons or streams or whatever that you want to call them that are closest to you, you can kind of shift your depth of field and your perspective. So all of a sudden you create even more depth in the orb. It just really looks that cool.
Oh, after a little bit, I'll reach to my jacket and pull out a mask.
Okay. Why don't you roll a coordination plus stealth D2
to change masks surreptitiously?
I mean, there's still people standing around.
Sure.
What momentum are we at? Just 2?
2,
but I mean,
yeah, I think I'm gonna burn one because I'm rolling against a 10 here. Okay. So here goes. Nope, 1 success.
1 success. Yeah, as soon as you pull out the mask, those 2 guys in the black suit, wearing the black, they're not wearing one black suit. They're each wearing a black suit. It's not like 3 raccoons in a trench coat. Although there is one customer there is one customer that walks through the gallery that does look like 3 raccoons in a trench coat, but who knows what that's about.
Like what game are they playing? That's the game that I want to be playing.
Oh no, it's this game.
Oh, okay.
Right. You notice at the bottom of the trench coat some tentacles are moving.
Oh no.
Yeah. So one of the men wearing the black suit kind of stands a little bit more upright and sees what you have in your hand, Valentino. And he leans over and he whispers into the ear of the other man. And then he kind of makes a beeline out of the grand display gallery, leaving the other man behind.
And I saw that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Can I just maybe make a show, just kind of moving the mask back and forth in front of my face, just to kind of make it A, so that they see what I have, and B, just kind of make it like I was playing, seeing how it changes through the eye holes.
Don't try to play it off. Just put that on, see if we can get confirmation, and let's get out of here.
Okay, I'll just put it on then.
You put it on, and the glass in the room all kind of has this extra glow to it. And as you look around, you can see, yep, there's the man in the black suit. There are some children over there who look bored to death being in this museum. And the mother is just kind of standing there, looking at each piece. There are a couple of teenagers. One of them looks like he's trying to, a boy is trying to impress the girl. And there's some giggling going on. And then you notice that next to the wall, the east wall, near where the man in the black suit is standing, you notice a little girl. And it looks like she's very sad.
As you say, it's next to the man in a black suit, huh?
Yeah, she's standing up in that kind of northeast corner area.
Can I see the little girl?
You cannot. You are not wearing the mask.
Right.
Not seeing anyone that I think would be named Antonio around here, but there does seem to be a little girl over there.
Oh.
At the minute of the mention of a little girl over there, the little girl turns and looks right at you.
Give a little wave.
She waves back. The man in the black suit is now staring at you very weird, and he kind of gives you a awkward wave back.
All part of our plan.
Nod at him. Just look around, make sure there's no one else that I didn't notice before that maybe.
No, just this little girl.
Happening.
Well, when I mentioned a little girl, she seemed to notice that.
I wave her over.
The little girl takes a couple of steps towards you.
I'll nod.
She again waves back at you. It's clear that she's been crying. You can see the tear streaks down her face.
I'll maybe cock my head and see if we can leave the room, or if that's an option for her.
I don't think she understands what that means.
Okay. I'll kind of walk halfway, maybe acting as if I'm looking at a different piece.
She wants you to kind of pay attention to her. She kind of continues to follow you as you move. She wants to try to stay in your line of sight.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll see if she, walks a little bit away from that man in the black suit.
She does. She will probably walk maybe 10 feet away from where you initially saw her, but then she is very hesitant to go any further. She keeps looking back in that direction.
I'll kind of walk towards her a bit more.
So
Maybe
as Valentina walks towards her, Dutch is going to basically set his foot down next to his foot as he lifts it to basically step on his shoelace.
On Valentino's shoelace?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd be like, oh, sorry, man. Sorry, I untied your shoelace.
all right. I'll bend down to tie it. Maybe let the mask drop.
Gonna take off the mask?
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, the little girl looks very sad, even more sad than she has. And when the mask comes off, she is no longer in the room. The man in the black suit, very, very curious at what you are doing.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right. Well, I'll tie my shoelace tighter and stand up and walk out.
Okay. And you exit the building completely? Or are you still wandering around the museum?
Go back to the Great Hall, maybe?
Let's actually go out the west side.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
down, and we'll head to the back room. Is there any signage on it?
Yeah, it says boiler room in Italian, obviously. It says a boiler room, employees only.
I'll try to open the door.
It is unlocked.
Okay. Walk in there.
Okay, you walk in and there are steam pipes. There are pipes that are running along the wall and up onto the second floor. There are pipes that appear to be going up and towards where the toilet areas are. There's at least one pipe that appears to be going out of the building, but in the middle of this room it's really kind of noisy in here because in the middle of the room is this giant boiler and it's just chuka 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 and go kind of sounds that the boiler is making. And there are two guys in there, two men, and they are constantly watching the boiler. Occasionally one of them will throw you see one of them pick up a shovel and throw some coal in there, and they're dialing gauges and wires and looking at things. And after they're satisfied, they both turn around to sit at a couple of chairs that are there next to a light, and they turn and notice you. Hey, you're not supposed to be in here.
In French, I'll say like the bathroom.
No, bathroom's down the hall.
Le bain?
No, he looks at his friend like his coworkers like these idiots. No, a toilet's down the hallway.
Excusez is my version of trying to say something in Italian with a French accent.
Yeah. They kind of wave you out and are kind of pushing you out the door and then close the door behind you.
Okay. So there wasn't any sort of like high-tech security system panels in there.
Not that you could see. It looked like a boiler room.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, there may have been a like a hatch panel or something on the wall, but there was nothing in here that said security guards and monitors and those kinds of things.
You said we saw wires. Would it be reasonable to think that the circuit breakers would also be here?
Yeah, that's what I meant. The breakout box or the breaker box. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, well that's something.
Yeah.
All right, let's exit through the gift shop.
Okay, you exit through the gift shop and you pick up a Banksy on the way out.
Nice. Does it shred itself before we leave?
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, the minute that you exit outside, it falls on the ground and shatters.
Oh.
And then you hear a man laughing and then he runs out the back.
Okay. Well, we came out the front.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have we been in there?
So it is probably noon.
Okay.
It's actually a little bit afternoon because you heard Frau Freitag say it's time to eat, and they all left. By the time that you put on the mask and you did the shenanigans with that, and then you went into the boiler room, you've exited out. It is probably 1:45 now. You are standing at the top of the steps, and as you look across the promenade, the main field down the midway of the carnival, you can see 3 men in black suits approaching in the distance.
Let's. It's probably faster to just cut back into the museum and walk out the other side.
You try that, but the back entrance is like emergency only, fireworks displays being set up.
Right, that's right.
And they kind of don't want you. There's a guard there. It's like, no. Please, front entrance only.
All right. Well, we'll go out the front and...
The men in the black suits are closer than they were a moment ago.
Sure. Well, we'll go around the museum to the backside.
Okay. It's roped off. They don't want you into this area, but you can see, there are some old men that are sitting on the grass, and they are eating sandwiches from their buckets, and they're pointing at these kind of frames, these box frames that are embedded into the ground, and they're kind of pointing and discussing things as they eat their lunches and drink their drinks.
Scoozy, and just like basically walk as fast as possible out of the restricted area and into whatever like shops are on the other side of the...
Yeah, sure. You cross the street and you go into some shops, and there's some people that are very excited to see you, although you can tell that they are also starting to feel a little bit of the wear and tear of hundreds of festival goers coming into their shop and looking around and then not buying anything.
Yep. So the moment that we break line of sight with the guys in black, Dutch will take his mask off.
Yeah, they don't see you.
Yeah, so he'll take his mask off, take his coat off, and just go into maybe a cafe and try to get a table.
Yeah, surprisingly, within a block of this museum lined up along the streets, there are like apparently a ton of cafes.
Oh yeah,
all over the place.
Touristy area. So.
Yeah, so this cafe is more of a bar cafe, right? So this is one that will serve you, some bar food like a sandwich, but their primary thing is selling you alcohol.
Yeah. So if it is more of a bar, then Dutch, and he'll motion Valentino too. He will like find some guys, and if they're at the bar or whatever, sit next to them, order a beer or whatever is had here, and we'll try to like make some conversation with them in his broken Italian.
Oh, the guys that are near you are seem to be actively talking about something. You're not sure what it is, something about a gathering or something about a something, but the minute that you guys sit down, they kind of clam up.
Yeah. So yeah, very like touristy. He'll be like, yeah, this is a great place. Very happy to be here. Can I buy your drinks?
And they kind of all look at each other and nod and say, yes. And they all order like the most expensive drink that the bar has.
Okay. Well, what is it? Do you think?
It's something green.
It's green.
And it's green. And it's green, and it smells like, have you smelled like really high proof alcohol before? The kind that kind of burns your nose a little bit.
Sure.
When you take a whiff of it. It's like green and mint and high octane alcohol.
Oh. Sounds disgusting. For me.
Yeah. But they all seem to enjoy it quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah. So basically what I'm trying to do here is get them chatting with us so that if some cool guys in cool suits happen to walk by, they'll look in here, just see a bunch of guys talking in a bar.
Sure. Why don't you roll will plus persuasion, D2.
I guess I'm not making a persuasion test against these guys.
I mean, you kind of are. You're wanting to persuade them to.
Can I use Can I use my talent then?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll buy 1 point of or 1 die for free, and then I'll spend our other momentum.
Okay.
So should be.
So you're rolling how many? How many are you rolling?
4 dice.
4 dice. Okay. Nice. 3
Ooh.
successes.
With a
Yep.
complication.
And a complication.
Yeah. So you get 1 momentum back. And they seem to be, amenable, I believe is the word, to you buying them drinks and trying to chat them up with conversation. But they were kind of involved in some kind of a deep conversation that you really weren't able to pick up when you first came into the bar to sit down. And they seem to want to continue on with that very heavy conversation, but they're also trying to be nice to you because it's clear that you are foreigner, probably an Englishman. And that they're trying to be nice because you bought them alcohol, and so they will make small talk with you about the weather. One of them mentions the recent football match that happened the other day, and the scores, and if you had a chance to go and see it. Another one, it was a very good game, very good. Paulo over there, his friend, scored a big point for the team, and we won. Hey! And they all are like, hey! And then the other one is like, what do you think of the weather here in Murano?
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Yes, it's very good. Very good this time of year. Very chilly, though, in the night, so make sure you're not on the streets.
Right. But at least it's safe, right? You have those policemen going around.
They seem to become very agitated. They all get very quiet, and they all kind of look at each other. What do you mean a policeman?
Oh, I'm sure I saw some sort of policeman, maybe sort of off in the distance, maybe walking a dog.
Now they're very, they're all looking at each other. One of them leans into the other one and whisper. And the other one looks back, leans very close to you and looks you right in the eye. And he says, it would be a very good idea for you to never get close to that dog.
Okay. All right.
It would be very good for you to not cause any trouble on this island.
All right.
Or in Venice either.
Right.
In fact, if you think you're going to be a troublemaker, you should probably go now.
Have I seen those guys go by?
No.
Okay. Dutch will put his hands up and be like, "Oh, no trouble. I didn't mean anything by it."
You're Spanish, huh?
Yeah, American actually.
What do you think of the Mussolini?
Oh, I haven't spent a lot of time here, but I did spend time in Spain. And I've some friends in Germany, and I gotta say, there's gotta be a better way to keep the trains running.
He looks really deep at you. Can you roll another persuasion check again?
Yes. Can I use my talent again?
You may.
Okay.
You need 2 successes on this.
I got 0 successes.
Oh, ouch.
He looks at you and he says, some say that Mussolini is the greatest, kindest man that this country has ever seen, and he's the man that this country needs. How would you agree?
Well, I haven't spent a lot of time here, but I would say, I'm from the U.S. and we're big fans of democracy there. So I would have loved to have seen a candidate go up against Mussolini. I don't remember. Mussolini didn't take over in a coup, did he? He was like actually elected.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know.
Okay.
Let's just say yes, he was elected.
Okay. Yeah. So
there
basically,
was this some very good people cast some votes, and he won by 12,000 votes.
Yep, pretty much. So basically Dutch will say something to the effect of like, it would have been nice to have seen a candidate run for him who was less interested in maintaining a culture and more interested in helping the people around the country that need it.
The man looks at you for a very long moment, for a very long beat, and he raises his glass to you. To Americans, and his two other friends are like, Americans!
Yeah,
And,
America.
There's a couple of other people at the bar that's like, quiet! You know, you can tell that they're day drinkers and they want their day drinking peace.
Mhm.
So they all salute you.
Okay.
Tell me, what do you do?
Well, right now we are here on business.
Business. You're a businessman, huh?
Let's say I'm a junior businessman. You know, it's my dad's business.
Oh, your father have a lot of money, huh?
Yes, he does.
You ever put any of your monies into the elections, huh?
I haven't really been able to. I haven't been able to vote for all that long. So I just, you could say I've just barely discovered politics, but I have absorbed as much as I can, as fast as I can.
And he like has two fingers,
Mhm.
and he kind of taps you on the chest. Tell me, American, if with your fancy money during the election, would you have backed the opponent or would you have walked away?
I would say I would have not been afraid to back them. But I also understand, or you should understand, that I'm a young man with not much to lose. Like I understand people being, let's say, scared, you know, of economical downturns and things like that. So I understand that.
It's like last month I turned to 38.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know this feeling of scared.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his friends kind of taps him on the shoulders like, no, no, no. And he kind of like hesitates.
Nope, I get it. It can get pretty scary out there when the opposition is in control and when the opposition doesn't relinquish control when they're supposed to.
Yes, Mussolini definitely wants to stay in power. He's a big idiot. And then his friend definitely taps him on the shoulders like, no, Andrade, no, no, no.
I'll give a good smile there.
Yeah.
They kind of look around the bar to see if anybody's paying attention to what they are saying.
Mm-hmm. But they're all drunk.
The two drunk guys really don't give a crap.
Right.
The bartender is paying a little bit more attention to your conversation.
I'll see if these guys like quiet down when the bartender comes around, or if they're like, if they continue.
Yeah, the bartender walks up and is like, more drinks. And the main guy, you know, the guy that's been having exchanges, Andretti apparently is his name. Looks at you, says, "Are you buying American?"
Yeah,
I'll buy for you. I need a glass of water. You know, we Americans, we can't hold our alcohol that well.
Kind of looks at you, maybe with a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah,
but then he looks at the bartender, gives him a nod. And the bartender nods back, and he turns around to the bar and comes back again with green cocktails. And what are you going to have, Valentino?
I'll take one of those.
All right. He comes back with 4 green cocktails and a glass of water for the American. And as he's setting it down, he pulls out you see a little piece of chalk appear in his hand. And you see him mark what looks like a check mark onto the bar in front of you. Mm-hmm. Kind of where the point of the check mark is kind of pointing at you, so that when you look at it, you can see it's like, you know, a check mark.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bartender looks at you, and then he looks at Andrade, and then he spills a little bit of the water as he's setting the glass down, which coincidentally splashes onto the check mark, and he takes his bar towel and he rubs it off. Okay. And then he turns around and walks to the end of the bar. Andretti is looking at you. Salute to Americans and to you who drink water.
Salute.
Salute.
Drink it down.
Yep.
Ha.
Well, it has been fantastic to talk to you, and certainly glad to spend because we have business everywhere. Some American money on you, and some French and British money as well.
Oh, well, thank you so much for the drink. My friends and I really appreciate it. And then he kind of grabs you by the shoulder and pulls you in close, whispers in your ear. You ever want to spend your money to help the opposition, you come and look for Andrade. And he kind of gives you a smack on the face and laughs. Good Americans. And his two companions also laugh. Good Americans. Ha ha. And the bartender kind of laughs and expects you to pay him.
Yeah, how much is that going to cost us?
It's going to cost you 4 monies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Particular sites we should see while we're visiting?
Have you been to the museum?
Yeah.
Everybody goes to the museum.
Yeah.
Have you been to the tower over in Venice?
I don't think
No,
we've
we've mostly been here at the festival, yeah.
Yeah, go check out the tower in Venice. It's a very interesting. Lots of things to be found there.
Sounds good.
All right, so if I am looking for Andretti, just come back here. Is there someplace else?
Andretti can always be found here.
Okay.
And his friends kind of laugh. Andretti, the drunk.
All right. Well, I'm assuming that those guys gave up looking for us
If I were to make a guess, I would guess that by the time you guys split off and started walking down the steps to the east and back around behind the building, these guys were only halfway up the promenade. So they probably wouldn't even have recognized you at that distance.
Sure.
So they probably just went into the museum to go see what's up with their friend.
Okay. Yep. We'll thank these guys, say bye, and go look for Blisco. Wait, who would be in the back? Blisco?
Doc.
Oh, Doc would have been in the back, yeah.
Okay.
But it's after 1:00.
Yeah.
Doc, what did you do? What did you do after you found yourself in this residential neighborhood?
It's a residential neighborhood. There's a bunch of people. They're definitely looking at me.
Yeah.
Could
This
I
is
feign drunkenness and try to ask for directions back to the festival?
Sure,
I
let's try.
cannot find my way.
Roll a reason and persuasion, D1.
D1?
Actually, it's going to be a D2 because you had that complication.
Oh, no,
Okay.
I rolled will and persuasion.
Okay,
That's what you got.
will and persuasion then. D2 because you have the complication.
Okay. Shoot, that's so much worse. Do we have any...
You have 1 momentum.
I think I'm going to have to borrow in momentum.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can always give
Okay.
Steven some threat, too.
Yep. I haven't
Ooh.
even used any threat yet.
Yeah, but you will because you're mean to me. If I give you a threat and use a die, would that give me 4 to roll, or would I have
No,
to
that gives
give
you.
up more than
You'd have to give up. You'd have to give me 2 threat if you wanted to roll 4 dice.
I think I
So-
need to do it because I'm literally rolling against an 8.
Okay, you may roll 4 dice. You
Yeah, go
have
for
0
it.
momentum, and I have 10 threat.
And I want to roll less than 8, yeah?
Uh-huh.
So that would be the one to the right, tidy.
So the
Where'd it
point,
go?
the
point
point
goes
is to the left.
Wait, wouldn't that be greater than 8? No, less than 8. Okay. That's my problem. That's totally my problem. Okay.
Hey, you got 2 successes, which you need.
Yes!
You also have
Yes!
2 complications.
Incredible.
Which I didn't needed.
So you feign drunkenness. And how do you act when you're feigning your drunkenness?
I'm lost. Where's the festival? And I try to sound Canadian because I found that sounding Canadian is better.
Yeah, you're gonna have to work on your Canadian then. Okay.
Scusi. The festival. Donda. Too much to
So
drink.
2 complications, man. You have some bad complications here.
Ugh.
The people surround you, and they're looking at you.
They're going to start throwing rocks, aren't they? I hate this game so much.
I mean, that's a good idea. I know what I want to do, but I don't want to do it because it's pretty bad. But it's 2 complications. How can I not?
Yeah, a great moment to think about sort of what, as a game master, how beholden you are to the dice, right? Like, yep, something should happen here, but very likely it's going to be disruptive to what you had planned. That's what I'm guessing is most likely to happen.
Yes,
just because it's going to like eat up a lot of time to deal with, if nothing else, right?
Yes, and
Sure.
and
Sure.
let's just say yes, and but.
Sure.
Yeah. No.
So
yeah, one of them. Yeah. So okay. So here's what happens. One of the men steps forward and says, "We don't like no foreigners in our neighborhood." And he takes a swing at you and punches you. So Matthew, if you will roll a agility and fighting D2.
Okay. 1 success.
Wow, nice. So you get 2 successes off of that.
Oh, I do get 2. Oh, there's a 1 again.
He takes a swing.
I've now rolled 6 die, 2 1s, 2 20s, and 2 17s.
Yeah, he takes a swing at you, but he must have been drinking a little bit at lunchtime, and he kind of swings, and you're able to dodge and miss his blow. However, another one comes out of nowhere from another guy and smacks you right across the head, smashing your mask. You need to take 1 stress.
Physical?
Yep, 1 physical stress. And then a woman is like, ah! She screams because there's a mayhem going on. And all of a sudden, some people start picking up rocks and they're throwing them at you. Get out of here, foreigner, get out of here, foreigner. And start to chase you down the street.
Oh,
Can you roll?
I'm glad that Earth D20 is much meaner than the real world.
Yeah, I know, right? Can you roll an agility plus athletics, please?
Probably.
D1.
We can try.
Do you try to fight back? I guess I should ask if you try to fight back.
At the point where somebody starts chucking rocks, I try to beat feet, I think.
Okay. All right.
I know the power of a quick retreat.
All right. 2 successes. You get back 1 more momentum because you only needed 1. You are able to outrun the mob of people. And after a few minutes of following windy, twisty streets, you cross a little canal and you find yourself back on the main central island of Murano, probably less than 100 feet from the museum.
Okay.
You are to the northeast of the museum.
Is there some place I can quickly buy a new mask?
I mean, yeah, there's people selling masks all over the place.
And maybe a cloak, so people will not look at me and go, hey, that's
there's
that
a cloak.
guy.
There's a cloak, sure.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
All right. Please deduct 5 monies from your account.
5 monies, okay.
Whoever's got control of the monies.
I'll do it.
Okay. You have a cloak and a mask.
We'll put them on quickly.
It is a black cloak with a black mask and a black tricorn hat.
I put on my black cloak, black mask, and black tricorn hat.
Yep, that's all this booth sells is nothing but black cloaks, black masks, and black tricorn hats.
And I try to blend.
Yeah, you do. I mean, there's festival goers around. Some people look at you and nod because they get it. Other, 1 or 2 other people are kind of freaked out by this apparition that appears before them, and they kind of step aside. But yeah,
Doc's tall.
No, he's not that tall. He's not that tall.
I thought he was tall.
No.
He's big. How tall am I? I thought it was like 5'11".
I think you're like 5'10".
Okay.
At most.
It's tall for the 30s.
Yeah.
That
the 30s it really is. Yeah. I mean, somebody that would be 6 foot in 1940 would be like a giant.
Yeah.
Ooh, so I'm a small giant.
Freak of nature.
Yeah.
I'm
Rob.
the world's smallest giant. Oh. Okay. I suppose I should head back or try to head back to the point where we're supposed to rendezvous.
Sure. It's the middle of the afternoon, but yeah, go ahead. So you arrive at the Cafe Rendezvous Point. It is 2 p.m. in the afternoon. There's a Blisco sitting here. Blisco, you see a man approaching you in a black mask, a black cloak, and a black tricorn hat.
Do you hear the one about how Franklin wanted a turkey?
Oh, okay. Do we have an actual response to that?
No, that's not even our code word. That's for the other guys.
I didn't think so.
Well, it's the only thing I could think of that I would know would be a code
Wait.
word that.
I mean, you could
Later
just say hi,
on-
you could just say hi, Blisco. It's
Later
me,
on,
Doc.
we can ask
Hi,
Valentino
Blisco.
to come up with something cool for us, since he's the cryptographer.
With that.
Something that only an American would know. Hey, Ishkabibble.
Hey, Blisco, it's me, Doc.
And give away my identity after I went and I bought this cloak and hat for 5 monies?
And approaching someone who
How is saying my name is it's me, Doc? How is that going to blow your cover?
Yeah, Doc isn't even actually your name.
yeah.
And whatever you hear coming from a guy who looks like Doc, who has that slight Massachusetts accent with Greek intonation, who's speaking English like an American from Massachusetts with Greek intonation. How many people do you think they are on that island? Ishkabibble. That's what I say.
Why do you,
I say
why do you need
Ishkabibble.
to, so curious. I'm just seriously curious. Why would you think you need to maintain a cover?
I don't. But I didn't want him to freak out because we've seen these guys running around seemingly being pickpockets.
Yeah,
I
so
was
why approach him-
operating under the expectation that all of these guys were pickpockets. I didn't want him to think, here comes a pickpocket.
And so you
But I
approach him
also-
and say, and you
I
approach him and you
don't
go,
know if I'm-
"Ishkabibble!"
I don't know if I'm being followed by people
And no,
who might.
you beat that running check, so they dropped
Okay.
off. They're not going to follow you.
Okay.
You're out of their neighborhood.
So I sit down and I say, what's up, Blisco? Ishkabibble.
Why aren't you out back?
The lovely and welcoming natives of Murano introduced me to the song of their people
Did you get chased away?
with rocks.
I see.
So about the usual.
Trade
Did you
places?
see anything on the front side?
Nothing out of the ordinary yet.
I have
The
such a
changing of the
headache.
guard.
The waiter comes out. Hey, I told you not to be here no more. You get out of here. I don't need your kind here. Go. And he's pointing to you in the black mask, the black cloak, and the black tricorn hat. Go now. I'm going to call in the police.
Murano, visit if you survive. I'm going to whoosh off into the shadows because why not?
And the waiter comes up to you, Blisco. I'm so sorry. These pickpockets are always running around these festivals.
I understand. It's okay.
If you see them, just be wary and check your wallet. You might want to check your wallet now.
Double check. Or make a show of checking.
So good. I try to chase them off every time I see them.
Once I'm not like in full view, I think I'd like to get rid of the tricorn hat and see how obvious I am.
I mean, you're still wearing a black mask and a black cloak, but I mean, you know,
I think it was the black on black on black.
Hey.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm also going to bust out the first aid kit and deal with my 1 point of stress from the punch in the face and see if I can do something. If I use my first aid kit, that will buy us some momentum.
First aid, I don't think works that way.
I'm injured. I'm going to fix myself.
Doesn't work that way.
But how does it work?
Well, read what it says.
What says I have first
What is your
aid
first?
kit?
I know.
Gain
What does it
3
say?
bonus momentum.
Okay, so you use your first aid kit and you gain 3 bonus momentum.
There you go. And I put a Band-Aid on my injury.
But you do not clear your stress.
Boo.
But you now have
Alright,
5 momentum.
Do we need to look this up?
No, it's
No, we're
literally what he said. Use your first aid kit, gain 5 momentum, or 3
Gain
bonus.
3 bonus momentum. Okay, but that's good. So,
Why are we not spamming first aid kits?
this is a good question, to be honest.
Rob, buy 20 first aid kits.
On it.
All right. So what, Blisco, you're kind of sitting there. Doc ran off, or does he come back, or what's the deal?
Is there some place that I can buy a different mask?
Sure. This place has a lot of them. There's clown masks here at this one.
Can I buy one that doesn't make me look like some sort of criminal, serial killer, or reprobate?
Maybe.
This is a clown
Definitely,
mask stand.
definitely
So no.
not all three. Not all
No.
three.
A clown mask. So the answer is as vehemently no. So maybe
this is
the
one of
next
those.
stand.
This is one of those. This is one of those really weird clown masks where it has the clown mask has the blue triangles above and below the eyes, and then a red nose, and then this really, really wide smile that is wraps around the mask.
You can stop now. I know.
And it has, big red lips. And that also costs you 5 monies.
No. I'm going to find a different. There is no way. No. No.
It's a clown mask.
I said no. What other masks?
Okay.
Can I find an angel mask?
Yeah. What kind of?
Yeah, sure. There you go down another couple of spaces, another couple of booths, and somebody else is selling some masks. This one is just a plain porcelain face with a mask, and on one of the cheeks is a little red heart, and there's some ribbons that are coming off the side that you can use to tie the mask to your face.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'd like to try that.
All right, you try it. You want to try it, or you buying it?
Does it fit my face?
I mean, yes. All masks fit all faces. Eventually.
Says it's a thin person. Yes, I will purchase this mask. I will tie it to my face.
5 money.
No.
5 money, sir.
As the person is handing you the mask, you notice a kind of like on their hand, this black kind of splotchy mark on their hand that kind of goes right at the what is it called? The crotch between your thumb and your index finger. Mm-hmm. You see this kind of black, almost a mold, and you see it kind of tendril up their wrist and under their cloak, under their coat sleeve.
This island is an endless parade of horrors.
Oh no, the parade starts at 5 p.m. The parade of horrors starts at 5 p.m.
What in my scientific mind, what do I think is the over and under that I've just purchased a plague face and I'm going to die?
Oh no, this isn't a plague mask. That's okay. 3 booths down. You can buy the plague mask.
What you're probably seeing is the stuff that we've all been seeing.
Yeah,
which is like
the weird black ectoplasm.
Yeah, we're Pigment's modeling here.
I suppose it's better than Portnoy's complaint. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on because I figure if I die horribly, it just means that I don't have to hang around on Murano.
You put the mask on.
Mm-hmm.
That mask looks like a woman. Oh, that mask looks very good on you. Oh, very nice, very cute. Lose the hat.
I lose the hat for sure. Tricorn hat. Do they have a better hat? I just trade her for a hat.
Put the hat down on another pickpocket as they walk by.
Yeah, there's no. She doesn't sell hats. She just sells masks. She's a poor woman. That's why her masks are very plain.
Oh well, then I'll give her a little extra monies.
She's already charging you 5 monies in 1935 for a plain porcelain mask.
That is a lot of monies.
I'm just saying. I like to support people. You know, the people who are out there building their own.
How much more money are you giving her? 4? Because that gives me down 20. Okay, that's good.
That's like 20%. That's almost half. Okay. Now, if I have this mask on and I keep that black cloak, am I going to be mistaken for a murderer? Or do you think that it's the black on black on black that was the issue? And if I get rid of the hat and the black mask, will my black cloak just sort of fit in?
Why don't you roll me a reason plus survival check and find out? D1.
Anybody else getting like like Fallout New Vegas vibes from this, right? It's like you can dress up to get into like different enemy camps, but you have to like.
I mean, you mean I'm not going to say anything, but maybe
one success.
Why did Caesar's Legion have to have the best armor?
Right.
Yeah.
Matthew rolls 1 success. People just don't really care. They seem to be ignoring you.
Good. I'll be ignored. I'll go back to my pal Blisco.
Blisco, there's a man approaching you wearing a white faceless mask with a heart on it and a black cloak.
Is it the same black cloak that I recognized from earlier?
I mean, I guess maybe there's a lot of black cloaks. Black is a pretty popular color.
He's not wearing a hat, so presumably you'd be able to.
Oh yeah, you can
too.
recognize that hair. It's shooting out everywhere.
Is it? I mean, like I do kind of think of Doc as having kind of wild hair, but does he have one?
Oh, he does have wild hair. Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of depends on the time of day. By now,
especially if he's
now,
been punched in the face and running
around,
swapping
from hats and masks like a madman.
Yeah.
Yes, you recognize Doc approaching you.
You start the day with a lot of dippity-doo, and it's never enough. It's never enough. There's no amount of fop that will hold it down.
Okay.
So I'm almost certain that no one
your
else
friend
is
showed
going to
up.
be
Hey,
chasing
you must be this boy's friend. He's been waiting for you all day. Would you like something to drink?
I would love something to drink.
He
What would
brings
you
something
recommend?
What's that drink? There's an Italian drink. It's like not lemon water, but it's like a lemon alcohol.
Limoncello?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh.
Yeah, you see him pull out a container of lemonade, it looks like, or some kind of washed lemons from behind the counter, and he pours it into a glass, and then he puts in some sugar, and then you see him grab a vodka. It's not very high shelf vodka. And you see him pour that in, and he stirs it around, puts a slice of lemon on top, and then he brings you the limoncello. It tastes very good.
I may need another one of those.
Oh, right away, sir. And he goes and makes another one.
So as we were saying,
you got chased away from the back.
I did. But I did. It's very interesting what they're doing with the fireworks back there. I watched for 2 to 4 hours, and it seemed like there was fireworks, and then they moved in some new fireworks about 4 hours later. So, if we were looking at those fireworks and wondering how those fireworks would cycle.
Clarification: they weren't moving in the fireworks; they were putting in the stands where the fireworks will eventually go.
Yeah, they were very, very early on in the process. It sounded like.
Yeah, and they're old men, so they move very slowly, which is probably why they're starting now, so that they're done in time for the fireworks festival, which is like 10 days from now.
It's that thing where we were watching to see how long it took the fireworks to cycle back and forth. See, the fireworks arrived.
Nobody's paying
fireworks
attention.
left. I'm still speaking in code. I can do that. I'm an adult. So anyway, yes. Did you have any luck on the front side?
2 went in, 1 came out.
Right
around lunchtime.
I had 2 and 2. So it seems like perhaps they switch shifts every 4 hours.
Probably best to check around. What time is it? About 2?
Yeah, it's about 2.
Probably best to check here in about another hour and a half.
Good call.
All
You
right,
try the limoncello. It's very good for gasoline.
Do you, Rob? Does
No.
Blisco imbibe?
Blisco does not drink.
Okay.
Ever
Another hour
or
and a
this
half.
time?
So are you both going to head over to check out the museum again at around 4 o'clock? Or no? Or are you just going to both wait and see if Dutch and Valentino show up?
Probably around 3:30, split up to go at least get an eye on the back door again.
Are you going to look at both entrances or just the back door?
I think we should switch entrances. I'll kind of wander through and take a look at the front,
Okay.
and you wander through and take a look at the back.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Both of you rolled me observation plus insight D2. And you do have 5 successes because you used a first aid kit for some reason. Or 5 momentum, I should say.
For first aid purposes, I would like to utilize a momentum.
All
I
right.
will also use a momentum.
And you said this was
D2.
Observation and
plus
insight.
observation. Thank you.
Yep. Observation and insight. Yep. 2 successes from Blisco. You notice nothing at 4 o'clock at the back entrance.
2 successes for Doc.
People continue to do their thing. Old men moving around, and one of them looks at his watch and points to the other, and they're like, yes, nod, and they head off for the day to maybe go get something from that bar across the street. Doc also has 2 successes. He also does not see any officers exchanging places at 4:00.
All right.
Continue watching for at least another 30 minutes.
Yeah, you don't see anything at 4:30.
Like, our rendezvous was at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just wander around, keeping either at least the alleyway within view,
Yes.
or the back doors.
Sure. So again, there's open areas. There's no alleys around the museum. Interestingly, around 5:00, the museum starts to clear out of patrons.
Mm-hmm.
You see the German woman with her 6 students following her out. Oh no, you're watching the back. You don't see anything from the front, Matthew. Also at around right around 5:00. The patrons are exiting. Some of them have packages and whatnot. You see a German woman and 6 students exit the front steps, and they kind of walk past you without really paying attention. Must be that great mask you're wearing, and head down into the midway.
Now, did you say that those 6 children were all blonde and roughly
Blonde
the same
and
height?
blue-eyed and about the same height, and they're all wearing. The boys are wearing brown shirts and brown pants, and the girls are wearing like a black dress and white blouse, or I should say, what is it? It's a dark blue, and white blouses.
Do they seem to be like related, or is it something where it's just sort of these are children who were chosen for their Aryan features, or
I mean,
are they ridiculously identical to the point?
Oh no,
where
they're not identical. They're definitely not identical. I mean, you would have to look at them. I mean, you're a doctor, but you can tell that that there's not a familiar resemblance between anybody.
Okay. So they're not like.
Oh, I would probably
cuckoos,
lean
they're
more
just
towards
like-
the brown shirt children are probably chosen for their Aryan.
Okay.
So one thing that is very clear, though, from everybody who has spotted this group, is they are not wearing armbands.
Right.
But they are wearing what you would identify as those uniforms. Frau Freitag is wearing what looks like, because it's cooler, she has like a wool green skirt, with a blouse on and an overcoat, a matching wool green overcoat, and then she has like a green wool, how they have that kind of half cloak, half wrap that women sometimes wear. She has that, and she's got a little pill box hat and black gloves that she's wearing, and some very sensible heeled shoes, also black.
Okay. I don't trust them.
How come?
They're up to something.
So, for the sake of maybe putting this together later, they left for lunch and came back to the museum, presumably?
I mean, so, yes, for discussions purposes later, let's say later on you guys meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
just wanted to make sure that I didn't just completely misconstrue that they where they had gone.
From what you saw, Dutch, they left for lunch. From what you saw, Doc, they left the museum at closing time.
At closing time, okay.
Did they leave the museum around lunchtime? Since
they might not have, because
yes, because they don't have food in the museum.
Yeah,
but could they? Well, I guess that's
we did not literally see them exit the museum, just the gallery. But it sounds to me like they just straight up went to lunch and came back.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd say Blisco should have seen them if they left the building.
Did Blisco see them leave during the lunchtime?
No, because he was too busy looking for guards and buying trinkets for his mother. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of people that walk in and out of that museum.
Yeah.
Right.
But yes, let's just say that you guys didn't check every cafe around the perimeter of the museum grounds. They probably went and had lunch and came back.
Practically infinite of them.
Apparently. So yes, the museum closes, and you see some guards locking the doors at 6:00 from the inside. The lights are still on. The festival lights are all on. Down the midway, it's dark by this time. Street lights are on. Shops are closing up except for the plethora of cafes, restaurants, and bars surrounding the museum.
I assume it doesn't take much time to get from the back of the museum to the front.
No, I mean, like it's like a 5-10 minute walk.
So yeah, like I will wait till about 5 till 7 before I head up front.
Okay, you head up front and look. There's a doc wearing that mask and that cloak.
Sit down with them. They not here yet, apparently.
Have not seen them, no.
Okay.
So right around 7:00. Hey, look, here comes Dutch and Valentino.
Dutch is holding his head.
Is he injured?
Like seriously, that
Hold his
stuff
alcohol
was
very well.
that stuff was strong.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
Hey, there's our friends. Let's
Hey guys. Oh, thank God, coffee. Can I get a coffee?
Yeah, sure. Brings out a coffee.
Yeah, thank you.
Hard day, fellas?
Well, we saw a few things. Not a lot of which help us with the potential mission, but good to know nonetheless. Like, do I feel like we do have some privacy here, or should we get like?
Oh yeah. People don't really care. I mean, people are moving about, doing their business. It's not like people are like, "Who are these strangers? Let me listen into their conversation." There's none of. I mean, literally, there are so many people wandering around that you guys could have a normal voice conversation, and no one's going to care about anything you say, unless, of course, someone walks by and you're like, "Let's blow up the mayor's house." Then they probably would pay attention. But for the most part, you guys can do. You can say whatever you like.
Did you guys see any of those? Like, did you see that German lady with the 2x2 kids?
I saw them when they left just a few, like 45 minutes ago, around 5 when the museum closed.
Yeah, when the museum closed, yes.
Oh, we saw them leave at lunch. That must have either they went back or
didn't catch them, but I was paying attention for guards.
That's fine. That's fine. Wait, Doc, are you injured?
The lovely people of the city introduced me to their kind ways.
I'm sorry, man.
You look like you're hurting a little bit. Would you like some aspirin from my first aid kit?
You only have one first aid. Actually, you have no first aid kit now. So you have used it. You used it, so you lose it.
Yeah, that's all right.
So scratch the first aid kit off of your list.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna buy 20 first aid kits, and then at the start of every fight, who has the most hit points? Probably me. I'm gonna hit myself in the head with the butt of the gun, and then we're just going to cheese those first aid kits to get 20 momentum right off the bat.
Oh no!
We found an exploit.
Reasonable.
Blisco's
Now
gonna
we're
turn his
playing
back
Munchkin.
on us and jump into a curb several times and go, and then he's gonna shoot backwards into the enemy.
Let's just glitch through the museum wall.
Speed run, Achtung Cthulhu. Any percent.
Well, I mean, speedrunning Achtung Cthulhu would definitely be the opposite of what we're doing tonight. So
It's been a.
I mean,
please continue with your conversation.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to this godlike being staring down at you from above.
All right. So, go ahead,
Yeah.
Brian.
We also met some local color, but a lot more friendly folk.
oh, like the sort of locals that we've been wanting to try and maybe meet.
Yes.
Seems like.
Oh.
But I guess on the other hand, we also met some local color that we probably don't want to run into.
True.
When Valentino tried his luck with the mask, they seemed to notice it and went and basically and seemed to go get reinforcements. So we had to lay low for a bit.
Also, I don't think I saw any luminaries. Just a sad little girl. But she did seem awfully interested in speaking with me. But couldn't exactly get any privacy to see if she
Like
had
a
actually had.
spirit girl?
Seemed black. No one else was seeing her. I couldn't see her without the mask.
Well, that's disturbing.
Yeah, I wish we knew more about this mask and how it worked. I mean, I would hate for it to be like draining life out of you every time you put it on. That seems like the sort of messed up thing it would do. But if it isn't, I would probably like to try some stuff. Like, can you see any ghosts? If we go to a graveyard, are you going to see a bunch of ghosts there?
Maybe we should try.
There's no graveyard on the island of Murano, nor is there on Venice Island proper. But if you went to the mainland, you could easily find a graveyard or two or three.
Well, maybe there's other places that we can go to that might have some ghosties. Like, I mean, there's
Hospital?
tons of like very old buildings anyway.
Yeah, there's a hospital on the southmost island.
Where
It's
lot
a
of
small
people-
hospital.
All right. Well, we also got some confirmation from the locals, not that we needed it, that we don't want to run into those cops with the scary dogs.
Mm.
So we're probably pushing curfew as it is. We should head back.
There's not a curfew, but the last boat off the island leaves at, what did I say, 8 or 9 o'clock. So unless you want to be stuck on Murano for the whole night, you need to exit at that
we need
time.
to get.
That's
we need to get
kind of the
moving.
general movement of the populace.
And I didn't mean I didn't mean an explicit curfew, but there's got to be a time when those guys start patrolling. So
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that there's not a state issued curfew in effect.
Is the boat for 8 or 9?
Let's say that the last boat off the island leaves at 9 o'clock.
Okay. I would like to stay observing the museum at least till 8 o'clock to
kill
a hunch.
Right, sure enough, right at 8 o'clock, you see a lot of the lights in the museum go off, especially up on the second floor. First floor still has a lot of lights on that you can see. Certainly, I would say the lights dim like 50% or whatever. And then about 10 minutes later, out of the front door, you see like 6 guards exit the building and lock the door behind them. You also see some at least one or two administrator people leaving the building. If you look closely, you can see one of them is one of the tour guides that you saw on your first trip to the museum. But they lock the door behind them. One of them checks the door, kind of pulls on it, rattles it, and everybody kind of walks down the long stairway. And when they get to the bottom of the stairs, everybody kind of waves and parts and goes their own directions.
Ciao.
I'm sure some of them are hungry. So,
boat.
The earliest boat that goes in the morning is 6 a.m. to the island.
I think I might have their schedule down. Do need to be here a little earlier to confirm.
That's fine.
Oh,
We can,
Yeah, so just so you're aware from what you observe, Rob, and I should have made you do an observation check, but from what you observe, some of them wander off to the east and to the north, and that is away from the docks that you guys came in, but Doc would know that those are kind of residential areas towards off in that area. But there are like 3 or 4 guards that are walking towards, and at least one administrator that's walking towards the docks that you guys came in on for your boat.
okay.
Yeah, so most of the staff lives on the island.
Yeah, I would say probably half. It looks like about a 50-50.
Okay.
Or 60-40, something like that.
I wonder if at this time it was like cost effective to live in a like small touristy island. Nowadays it would be absolutely prohibitive.
And-
Like especially up here in the Pacific Northwest, is like living in an
Yeah.
island is like so expensive.
When I was doing some of the research on Venice proper, there's only about 5,000 people that live, or no, I'm sorry, 50,000 people that live on the island of Venice right now in today. And so most of them are there to service the tourist trade, but there are like houses and residences that people live there. But a large portion of the people that support the tourism also ride the train to the mainland.
Mhm.
So it seems to be like but it also is very expensive to live on the island.
All right. Let's
Yeah, so now it's like about 8:30.
let's head back. And tomorrow, if everybody wants to get up super early, we can just come here at 6, or we can split up again, and maybe I can come with Blisco, and you two guys can. But let me see if there's another aspect of the plan that we could split up to see. I mean,
Maybe
if you guys want to try to get in there and figure out where the security system is housed, just by looking around.
Seems reasonable.
Mhm.
Are we absolutely certain that the security system is electronical in nature?
No, we don't. But do I have any relevant skills?
Absolutely biffed figuring out how the security system worked, didn't I?
Oh no, you figured it out how it worked perfectly. You tried to steal the globe and you set off the security system. You know exactly how the security system
I mean,
works. Congratulations.
Did I do an engineering check to figure out more than just hey, approaching is all right?
No, you did not.
It was a bit of a crap, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. If we need an engineer in there, so that's Blisco too. So tomorrow we can see if your projections are right, and then maybe you and Valentina. We were wearing masks, so maybe we change up some masks. Blisco and Valentino go in. I'm sending Valentino because he's observant.
Fair enough.
And see if you guys can scope anything out about the system, and maybe I'll go pay our friends, our new, potentially roustabout friends, a bit of a visit, and I'll bring Doc along.
You are on the island of Venice. It is close to 9:00, a little after 9:00. You caught the last boat, 15 minutes, so it's like 9:15. You're on the island of Venice. Are you walking back to your hotel, or is there any place else that you would like to go?
Yeah, probably back to the hotel, unless somebody else wants to do something else.
I feel like straight to the hotel is probably the.
Everybody but Blisco has had a few. Have we actually eaten any food today?
Blisco has.
Okay.
Who had that famous Italian
lasagna?
breakfast lasagna pastry?
I'm going to have to ask you to look up the name, but yes, that was me.
Okay. I mean, it's like a
oh, go ahead.
It's a straight croissant, Matthew.
It's like 9 hours ago, I had a croissant I didn't know the name for.
And then you had like 3 limoncellos and you got punched in the face. So
yeah,
some might say that's a good day.
Yeah, it's just that day.
Sounds like a fun day.
Like Dutch, with Dutch, it all seems to be happening like probably faster than normal. Where he's hungover now.
Yeah.
even though it wasn't all, it was a few hours since he had a drink or whatever. So,
but he's also young, so he'll be over it in 2 or 3 hours. I feel like we should return to the hotel and maybe have some food and put together some things and point out the things that we know about things that are things.
All right. So you are back in your hotel. They've brought up some food into the common area. You're all sitting around eating some fine Italian cuisine, seafood, pasta, vegetables, mushrooms, wine, coffee. And so what are you gathering together?
So yeah, we'll just plainly recount. We saw a ghost girl in there.
Okay.
We like those fancy guys that we keep seeing around, they are aware of presumably some magic stuff because they seem to get very seem to be very alert when the mask came out. So we need to move those guys from the might shoot you because they're fascist category to the might shoot you because they know what we're up to category.
Now, did the people with the dogs have a similar outfit or no?
No, the man that you saw a couple of nights previous with the dog looked like a police uniform, maybe of a higher rank than normal street police officers. And of course he was wearing like thicker gloves and thicker boots because he was handling this dog creature.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, he's regular police.
And, just in case anybody had any questions, we have definitely confirmed that the black on black are the local pickpockets.
Okay.
So if we ever wanted to not get attention while getting attention,
Well, I would
that
specifically
be one way to
say
do it.
that costume combination of the black mask, black tricorn hat,
sure.
and cloak.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So it's, a professional courtesy thing, I guess, so that they know one another.
I think that's about it. We can go tomorrow to see if you guys can spot to figure out mechanically sets off the alarm or if there is any sort of way to cut power to it.
Do we remember if there was anything notable or unusual about the criminal that the police and their dog were chasing? Was there anything unusual about him, or was
he was not a criminal, Matthew? He was a person that was handing out. He was the person that handed you the resistance flyer that you guys have.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we still have?
You do still have it.
We should have gotten rid of that.
Did we leave it in the room?
You did.
We're all
Unless you
die.
carried it with you throughout the entire day, but
We should just not go back to that room.
Who had it?
I
the
might
last person who had it was Valentino.
Oh.
Yeah, so
yeah, because I think I handed
Dutch
it
had
to
it
you
first
to
and
see if
handed it
you-
to Doc, and then Doc handed it back to Dutch. Dutch handed it over to Valentino.
Quick, Brian, declare that you had it on your person all day so that a fascist maid doesn't come in and murder us in our sleep.
Sure, I had it under the mask.
Yes, and Brian. Yes, and.
Yeah, he said yes. I had it with me,
and he had
was
it under the mask.
Okay.
What more do you want from him?
So yeah, I think that's the plan for tomorrow at least. This is gonna put us at 8 days until the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We should
So-
definitely sleep in shifts again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You do, and it is uneventful. Critical Hit Punch All Nazis is a production of Major Spoilers Entertainment and was produced and edited by me, Stephen Schleicher. If you would like to get a behind-the-scenes making of this episode, be sure to check out the GM Roundtable Octoon Cthulhu Edition at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Each week I discuss my plans for the upcoming game session, and Dr. Brad Will is there to share his reactions and advice on how to be a better game master. I will warn you, though, there are spoilers galore in every installment of the GM Roundtable Octoon Cthulhu Edition. So, if you don't like spoilers and don't want to know what I am planning next, don't listen to these episodes. Though, I will say, if you do listen, you'll be able to see how and where the players throw a wrench into my plans, and you're also going to have greater insight into the world that's being built into this campaign. This week we didn't have any named NPCs, so no shoutouts to our associate producers this week, but next week will feature a lot of surprises, and more than a few of our wonderful patrons will become NPCs in this game. You want your name to appear as one of these NPCs in future episodes, all you need to do is become an associate producer at patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Finally, we want you to record yourself doing your best on Critical Hit and send it to us at podcast@majorspoilers.com, and your voice will join the growing chorus of fans in upcoming episodes as well. Thank you again for listening this week, and here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2023 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.